The problem is most people don't want to invest in themselves. Most people don't want to put in the work. Okay? And this applies to relationships. This applies to weight loss even. Most people don't want to put in the work. Everybody wants to lose weight. Everybody wants a healthy, thriving, successful marriage or relationship. Everybody wants a great career. They want to make money. But most people don't want to put in the work required, necessary to lose weight, to have a healthy relationship, to maintain a healthy relationship, to make good money, to have a successful career. It takes work. For example, now I don't talk about my love life or anything like that. I stopped talking about my love life. But in my relationship, if there is a relationship problem, I'm not just going to call it quits. I'm going to fight for my relationship. If there's a problem or issue in my relationship with my man, I am not going to just call it quits. Okay? We are going to talk about it. We are going to get through it. I'm going to fight for my relationship, and a lot of people, they will have a relationship problem or a relationship issue and call it quits. Oh, it's time to get a divorce because we had a disagreement, or whatever the issue may be. Now, one thing I do not tolerate in relationships is physical abuse, any kind of abuse, narcissistic abuse, cheating. I do not tolerate that. But general relationship issues, I will work through it. Most people don't want to put in the work to make their relationship work, or they don't want to put in the work to lose weight. They contributed to their weight gain because they didn't watch what they ate. They are an emotional eater. They contributed to their weight gain, but they desire to lose weight, but they don't want to put in the work to lose it. And that is what's stopping people from excelling in life, from having a fulfilling life. That is what's stopping people from having healthy relationships, healthy marriages. This is the reason why one of the reasons why the divorce rate is so high, because people don't want to put in the work. They don't want to work on their marriage. They have a relationship problem and they're ready to call it quits. They're ready to throw in the towel rather than seeking marital counseling or therapy, and working together. Working together, effective communication. Healthy relationships require communication. It requires working together as a team. If you have a disagreement, most people are ready to throw in the towel. They have a things are not going well in their relationship. They don't know what to do. They give each other the silent treatment. People just don't want to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to put in effort. If you want to lose weight, it requires work. Losing weight requires effort. It's not just going to fall off your body overnight. It requires consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. And you have to be consistent. Same thing goes for relationships. If you're having relationship issues or relationship problems, now one thing, women should not tolerate a man putting his hands on her or being abusive to her. That's one thing. I'm out of there. You know, that's it. Just in relationships in general, I will not tolerate a man putting his hands on me. I will not tolerate a man cheating on me, narcissistic abuse. I'm out. I'm out. I'm not, that's not something that I'm going to work through. You know, that is a deal breaker for me, because that only escalates. But, you know, just in general relationship issues like disagreements, for example, that is something that I can work through with my man. That's not something I'm just, you know, if my man is struggling with mental issues like depression, I am going to work through that with him. I am going to be his rock. I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to be his support. I'm going to be his emotional support. I'm not just going to give in on my man. You know, if my man needs someone to talk to, you know, I'm going to be there for my man. But what a lot of people do, they don't want to deal, that's their problem. I don't want to deal with that. Or, you know, they contributed to their weight gain. They need to lose 100 pounds, and they want to be mad at everybody else and point the finger at everybody else but themselves. They contributed to their weight gain. But rather than, you know, taking accountability for their actions, not watching what they eat, and not having self-control, not having discipline, just not taking accountability, they would much rather point the finger. You know, putting in the work requires effort. They don't want to do that. That's the reason why people will never reach their weight loss goals, fitness goals. People will never have healthy relationships that last. Most people, their marriage will end in divorce, or their relationship will end in a bad breakup. So you have to put in the work, and you have to be able to, you know, you have to put in the work. You can't just give in. You can't just give up on your relationship or your marriage. You can't just give up on yourself. I went from 157 pounds to 108 pounds. Yes, at the beginning of my weight loss journey, I struggled. I didn't take it serious. Then when I started seeing some success, it motivated me. Then I became disciplined. And you have to want it. You have to want it. You have to want a healthy relationship. You have to want to make it work. You have to want to lose weight, whatever you are desiring, whether it's a healthy relationship, you know, weight loss, you know, whatever your goal is, you have to want it, and you have to put in the work, and you have to be disciplined, and you can't give up. You can't. So I don't want to make this video too long. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next upload.